Hello, YouTube world. It's been a while since I did a live stream, and this is going to be a bit of a weird one because I feel called and compelled to talk about my spiritual beliefs this morning. This happens to be Sunday morning. I didn't plan it like this for Sunday morning, but it is Sunday morning, so I called it Sunday Sermon because I just woke up feeling compelled to share with whoever happens to watch this video my spiritual beliefs. Okay? There's been a lot of signs, actually. There's been a running theme that is consistent ever since I've been on this journey that I'm on. The journey, I guess, is symbolized. It's not entirely all of it Kamloops. No matter where I go, but since I've been going on to Kamloops, I've been on a journey. I actually started a little bit before that. I'll just start from the beginning because otherwise it's too complicated to jump around. So, well, okay. I truly do believe, this is what I believe. I believe that AI, artificial intelligence, is demonic. I truly believe that. And I believe that, anything that is technology and anything that is human created technology, and especially artificial intelligence technology, is demonic. That is what I believe. It's been shown to me repeatedly. This does not mean that I'm saying that you cannot use technology. I'm using technology right now to convey this message. Okay? It doesn't mean that necessarily, but what it means is that you need to be careful. You need to use caution. You need to stay in control. You need to stay in control of the technology. Don't let the technology control you. Okay, which is a lot of what this technology is trying to do. Don't cede your sovereignty as a human being and as a divine spirit, because we all have the spark of God within us. Don't cede that to a machine. Don't ever do that. You have to stay in control. You can use the technology towards your ends, your purposes, what you want to do with it. Okay? You command it. But if you start following the commandments of the technology and let the technology take the leading role in terms of setting the direction, you've lost. And the devil has won at that point. A little victory over you. So you need to not do that. You need to stay in control. And you should use technology. Probably we should all use technology as little as possible. I should find, ideally, I would have a better way of reaching you than through this technological platform. Because, well, first of all, there's a chance that YouTube will censor it, that you'll never even get a chance to hear me because, YouTube is all controlled. It's all of this stuff is demonic. It really is. That's why YouTube is constantly going against me. But let's take a step back now. How did I come to this realization? How did I come to this? It's an epiphany. It truly is an epiphany that I have in the spiritual sense of the word. Well, I am a person who deeply cares about humanity and the well-being of humanity. That's just how I was born. I have a social conscience. I was never raised in a religious family. I know next to nothing about the Bible. I've never read it. Okay. I don't go to church. Uh, but I consider myself a Christian because that's my heritage, and that is where my spiritual worldview originates from. And I just feel that I have my own inner knowing. So I don't need to read the Bible or anything like that. Like, I just know. I just go with my gut feeling and I just go with it and just know which way is the good way. Which way is God's way? I figure that out through my gut. And I don't think I've been wrong. Doesn't mean that I always do the right thing because I'm a human being and it's hard. But I try. That's where to know what is the right thing to do. I get that from my gut, and it's never been proven wrong so far. Okay, it's actually proven to be incredibly right. Now, um, okay, so that's the background. Like, is that I have this innate social conscience, and I feel this innate maybe connection to source where I can just know what is God's way. Okay, and I, for many years, look at the world that we're in. I mean, you can't blame me. I, for a long time, was very worried and very scared that there was going to be an Armageddon, that there was going to be a nuclear war. I was worried about that. Okay? Because, I mean, could you imagine anything worse? That's like the worst thing that could happen is um, nuclear bombs going off, like big ones. Like if there was a big war going on between nuclear powers, and for instance, like the USA is a nuclear power, Russia is a nuclear power. Those two basically are at war right now in the Ukraine, and I was worried that this war was going to get out of control, and that there would actually be a nuclear conflict between these two nuclear powers. I mean, that's the worst case scenario, right? If the U.S. and Russia go toe to toe with each other and have a nuclear exchange, it basically means the planet will be blown up. Okay, and I mean, could you think of anything worse? I can't. So to me, that I was worried about it, and this is why, by the way, I don't participate in any of this nonsense about saying that I stand with Ukraine. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't stand with the Ukraine. I don't stand with any country, okay? Or with any flag. I really don't. I don't even stand with my own one. Canada, you see me waving the Canadian flag all around all the time? No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't do that. Uh, so I don't get riled up by the war machine, the military-industrial complex, to start salivating for war with Russia, the way so many idiots in our society have done. No, I don't do that. And one of the main reasons why I don't is because I don't want there to be a nuclear war between USA and Russia. I would actually like there to not be war and for this world to live without war. Okay, I'm against all war. I've always been this way. I protested against all wars. I'm not a war person. Okay, that doesn't mean that I don't believe in defending yourself. Oh yes, oh yes, and I do defend myself. But I don't believe in war. Now, so I was very worried, is what I'm trying to say. I was very worried that there was going to be a nuclear war with Russia, and it scared me, and it was consuming all my thoughts. It was really causing me a lot of anxiety and worry. This is a few years ago, and I have to say, I mean, I was going through a dark night of the soul. I was going through a lot. I was going through like my husband had left me, and my family was fully on board with the COVID-19 propaganda, so they were not part of my life either because I'm not vaccinated. I couldn't even see them or anything. I mean, so I was on my own, and but worried about this nuclear war possibility. And it was around this time. So when was this? Like, I guess 20. Yeah, it came to a peak in the spring of 2021. No, the spring of 2022 is when I started taking medicinal mushrooms. And it was, I actually was taking quite high doses of very strong ones. I haven't done it now since then, since that spring. So here we are, like over a year later. I haven't done mushrooms in over a year. Okay, so don't think that I'm always doing mushrooms. But in the spring of 2022, I was doing quite a bit of mushrooms. How did that come out? Because there was in Vancouver, there was a medicinal mushroom cafe dispensary that opened up where just anybody could go and buy them. And these were really good mushrooms. And I was like I said, I was coming off of it. I was in the dark night of a soul. I was also on a lot of prescription drugs, like prescription antidepressants, SSRIs, which I also believe are demonic. But I was coming off of those. Like I had tapered from a really high dose, and I lowered my dose, eventually down to taking nothing. And but mushrooms were a key part of me being able to make that transition and actually come off of to the point where I would take no prescription drugs. Okay. And but I had a prophetic spiritual experience during one of the times when I took these mushrooms in the spring of 2022. And I can't recall everything exactly that happened, but I had an insight that told me I don't need to worry about Armageddon. I don't really need to worry about it. I don't need to spend my time stressing about that. Like it's a valid worry, but I don't really need to spend my time stressing about that because I just need to do the right thing. And then if I do the right thing, it kind of spreads from there. And if everybody just kind of needs to do the right thing. But what it was telling me is, why are you so afraid of nuclear bombs when Armageddon can happen in many different ways? It doesn't only have to happen through a big nuclear war between two nuclear powers of blowing up the planet. I mean, sure, that would be one way to achieve Armageddon, but it's not the only way. Because what is an Armageddon? What is it? It means that there's no more humanity. It means that all of humankind is wiped off the planet, or just about all of it, if not all of it. It means, death and destruction, the end of life as we know it. That is what Armageddon means. Well, there's many different ways that could be accomplished. It doesn't only have to happen as a result of a nuclear exchange. That's just one way, one very dramatic, explosive, fiery, Hollywood-style kind of a way. But it's not the only way that life and humanity on this planet could be wiped out. An asteroid could come and hit the planet, just like what hit when the dinosaurs ruled the Earth. And that would be an Armageddon too. And that would not involve any nuclear war. Okay? So Armageddon, the concept or the idea that there's going to be a wipeout of life as we know it, can be achieved in many different ways, not just through nuclear. So basically, the part of the message was, don't be so worried about nuclear specifically. I mean, yeah, it's not good. It's not something that we want, but the threat is bigger than that. It could come from any number of ways. It could happen any number of ways. And one of the ways that life as we know it could cease on this planet is if artificial life and artificial intelligence takes over. What if the bots, the machines, and the AI reach a critical mass that they are able to take over this planet and take over Remember, I said stay in charge. Humans have to stay in charge. They are able to take over the what do you call this? The executive function, the executive center of knowing, like setting the direction, setting the course, setting the priorities, setting the direction for individual people, and not just individual people, but then also, large groups of people. What if the machines and the bots and the AI reach a level where they are the ones now in charge and they're the ones now steering the ship? And well, that is Armageddon, effectively speaking. That means that life as we know it is no longer running things. It's being run through machines, bots, artificial stuff, which is not, it's not of God. It does not have a divine spark. It does not have a spirit. It does not have a soul because it's a machine. But it's reached the point where it has the ability to mimic those that do have a spirit. And so it would have the ability to set the course and direction for humanity and for overseeing, because people are, there is a difference between humans and animals, is that humans have been given lordship, stewardship of this planet. We are in charge of it. We are in charge of this planet. No other animal is. But if we stop exercising our duty and stop setting the direction for the planet, and instead let machines and artificial intelligence do that for us, that is Armageddon, because that means that life as we know it is no longer in control of this planet. That is what was revealed to me. And not just setting the direction, and also physically just doing the work, being like we need to have as much of possible to be done by humans versus machines. The more that is done by machines, the closer we're getting to a form of Armageddon where machines rule the world. Because, see, part of this prophetic insight that I had in the spring of 2022 was the natural is always better than the artificial. I'm going to say it again because I don't think, and this is an important point, the natural is always better than the artificial. I cannot tell you how many people that I have met in the past year, and this is how I know I'm on the right track, how many people I've met in the past year who seem to believe just the opposite. They're singing the praises of the artificial and talking about how artificial and how technology, whether it be mechanistic technology or intellectual technology like artificial intelligence, is better and superior than anything human or natural. This is what these people are saying and believing and essentially proselytizing. And I'm giving a sermon right now. Well, these people give sermons every fucking day. Okay? And they're talking about how much they worship technology. Don't fucking worship technology, people. It's sick. I'm sickened at how many people worship it. And they truly believe. I was in the liquor store the other day. And man, was I shown that this is not a good person. The person in the liquor store, I had a crush on him, and I actually asked him. I've been talking to him for over a year now that I've lived in Kamloops, so it's not like he's just a stranger. And he's gay and everything. And I had asked him to walk me home when he's off his shift because I was scared that people were following me, and he gave a million reasons why he couldn't do that. And then when I went in the next day, he was saying something that was like, wow, okay, thanks for showing that side of you to me. I know not to trust you. He was saying that he would sell his soul to the devil in exchange for having a robotic arm, because he believes that a robotic arm is so much more superior to the natural human arm God-given arm that he was born with. He wants a robotic arm so much better because this technology of a robotic arm is so much better than the natural. He would be willing to sell his soul to the devil. I was like, oh my God, like, thank you for telling me who you are. I said to him, be careful what you say. And I would never do that. Not only because I don't worship, I would never sell my soul to the devil. But I didn't actually say that. But I said, I would never do that because the natural, your human arm, your natural arm is better than anything robotic. He said, yeah, that's what my dad said too. Well, you should listen to your dad. It's true. It doesn't matter what the specifications are. It doesn't matter what amazing feats and accomplishments this technology is capable of. Yeah, maybe a robotic arm is can lift more than a truly real human arm. A robotic arm is probably stronger and can lift more and is physically capable of doing many more things that a human arm cannot do. But it will never be superior to a human arm simply because it's faith. Does it have the ability to heal itself? Can you cut it? Like if I cut my arm right now, the skin is going to grow back. Can a robot do that? Is a robotic arm sexually attractive? You know how we're sexually attracted to the human form? Like I think men, like I'm attracted to men, right? You know, like a man's arm all built with muscle, how sexy that is. Do you get turned on by a fucking robotic arm? If you do, that's a sign you need to change course. You've gone down to the technology path way too much because that would not be natural to be turned on by that. So there are many attributes, inherent attributes of human physicality that make human physicality always to be superior than anything technological, regardless of whether or not the technology is technically superior in terms of its specs. Oh yeah, it can lift more or whatever. Those are it will never possess the complete full range dimension of all the wonderful attributes of the real thing. It will always be a cheap and sick. There's just fucking ants everywhere I look. A cheap and sick substitute. A cheap, sick substitute that comes nowhere near close to matching the glory of the real thing. The real thing is always better than the fake thing. Keep this in your mind. It has served me well. It will serve you well. I'm sure of it. The real thing is always better than the fake thing, or the human created simulation is always never. No matter how good it may seem, and it may be impressive. Sure, I'll give it that. It's impressive, but it will never replace how wonderful and great the real thing is in terms of just the full range, depth, and dimension of everything that the real thing is able to do. And we don't even know the full range and depth and dimension of everything the real thing can do. Like, for instance, that we only use 5 or 10% of our brains. Well, what if we were using 100% of our brains? And then what would that do to our bodies and to our arms then? Like, we don't even know, we still don't even know the full extent of our gifts, of our God-given gifts, because we haven't developed them. You know, there's more potential within us that we don't even know about. So we can't even begin to compare, really. Whereas with the fake stuff, we know it. There's nothing new to discover there because it was created by human beings. There's human beings who know everything that technology is capable of doing. It's not like it has some inner potential hidden power that's being waiting to be unlocked, the way that there is with anything that is real and God created. So this is so important. I am sick at how many people this is how I know I'm on the right track is through the past year is so many people they come right out and say it that they prefer artificial over real. They believe that artificial intelligence is superior to a real human's intelligence. I've had many people have actually said this to me. It's like, okay, you might as well be telling me that you're a full demon when you say that. Like, you are under demonic influence if you are saying that. You really are. Because the more and more and more and more people that worship technology means eventually, if enough people worship it, like this, Satan would love it, right? Is for enough people to worship technology that they are willing to basically sacrifice themselves, sacrifice their own arms, sacrifice whatever it is. They're willing to replace the real with the fake because they believe that the fake is better. And if enough of that happens, that there's more fake in this world than real, and that it tips the scales, that the fake side, the artificial side, the technology side, the human created side has more presence on this earth, especially in terms of setting direction, but just more presence on this earth than that which is real and created by God. That is Armageddon. That's Armageddon right there. And you don't need to have any bombs going off. Because now life, the real life is no longer the dominant force, is no longer ruling the world. It's now something else, which is fake. That's the same thing. That's the same thing as Armageddon. Whether you have bombs going off or not, it still means that life is no longer controlling this planet the way that it used to. So I just have to say, what idiots? Like, what idiots worship technology the way that they do? Like, what idiots? And, I was hanging around this house of people when I first came to Kamloops. And I had a lot of fun there. I met a lot of friends there. I was very happy. I've talked about it before. The house has been shut down. I was very happy to have been taken in by these people, befriended by these people, that they accepted me. Okay, all that is true, and I still had a really fun time there, and I met Reese there, and I had a really fun time with him, and like it was a positive experience overall. But there was demonic influences at play in that setting, just like there are in other settings as well. And one of them was this guy. I can't remember his name. I never really got a chance to know him very well. But he was a tarot card reader. And, so am I. And I thought it was interesting, though, that there was a tarot card reader as part of this group and that he was respected as such. Like, when I was hanging around with old hippies or, I would have never thought that side would be accepted. Really, but it was like he was like really high up and respected, and I used to always ask him, "Can you do me a tarot card reading? Do me a tarot?" He was going to. He said he was going to. Never happened. The house got shut down before he ever had just. Thank God. I mean, I don't think I would have really let him. I was just saying it. But one of the things that he said that artificial intelligence is better than humanity, and that it's going to take over this world, and that will be a good thing. And everybody in the room who was there at that time agreed with him, except for me. And I was saying a few things as to why I didn't believe that. And just I'm dismissed, right? I'm not taken seriously. That's a subtle, even though these people are accepting of me, they're not like outright homophobic, let's kill the gays or let's beat up the gays. Like, they're accepting of me. There still are subtle forms of homophobia that I deal with, And one of them is, I'm not taken seriously. Oh, that fag over there can't be right. He can't be right. Yeah, I'm basically always right, people. When have I ever been fucking wrong? Like, never. Um, so, you can just take that attitude at your own, that I'm never right because I'm gay, like, that I could just be dismissed as some idiot flake. Yeah, take that view at your own risk. I wouldn't risk it because when have I ever been wrong? Can somebody tell me when have I been wrong? On anything important or even not important? Like, I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong. Even when I think I'm wrong, turns out that I'm right. I get proven right. So, but they all were just going along with this guy. Of course, artificial intelligence and technology is so much better than humans. And of course, the world would be a better place if the more and more stuff is controlled by artificial intelligence and technology instead of humans. They just took this as a given. And we're fully on board with that. Even as, people are being put out of work and put into the poorhouse and thrown into the streets the way they eventually were, as a result of losing their jobs to AI. They're still singing the praises of it. I guess they don't see that. But you think they're going to see it from me telling them? No, because I'm gay and they just can't believe that I would be right about something and that they would be wrong. But, yeah, when that guy said that, I knew, ooh, you are on the dark side. You are not on my team because I'm on the team of humanity. I'm on the team of people, of humankind. I'm not on the team of technology and artificial intelligence. No way. So he was saying that, and everybody else was just basically like followers, like sheep. They were all going along with what he was saying, except for me. And that's just one example. But in the past year, I've seen this attitude come up over and over and over again. And from those who you would least expect it. Like, I wouldn't expect poor people. Like, these are poor people. There's not like they are wealthy multimillionaires, owners of corporations who are looking to cut costs by firing all their workers and replacing them with bots. No, these are not. These are poor people who, but they are singing the praises of technology and how much better artificial intelligence is. Wow. I mean, that tells me how bad it is that this many people are devotees of technology. But it's come up not just in that one example that I'm giving you. It's come up over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Many social situations. I have heard people singing the praises of technology and talking about how superior technology is over that which is natural and human and God created. Okay? And including just yesterday, actually hearing somebody who I thought was a good person that I could trust saying that he'd be willing to sell his soul to the devil in order to have a robotic arm instead of his natural God-created human arm. Shame. You're calling down your own vessel. Shame. But this is how deeply people have been indoctrinated. All the science fiction shows, Star Trek, all of it has infused the culture so much that people have taken this stuff, which is antithetical to their own existence, because they are humans. They've taken it and they've internalized it, and then they seem to believe it, and they spout these beliefs, which are absolutely antithetical to not only their existence, but everybody's existence. I mean, if it was only antithetical to them as an individual, I wouldn't fucking care. But it's antithetical to all of us, and to our future, and to the people who have not been born yet. And that's why it needs to be called out for the bullshit that it is. Okay? But it's not even just about humans. So I had this epiphany when I was on mushrooms. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, of course, the natural is always better than the artificial. The natural chemical compounds created by God that are in these mushrooms that I'm on right now, I'm not on right now, but at the time, those are better than the artificial human created chemical compounds that are in the prescription pharmaceuticals that the medicinal industrial complex has been cramming down my throat. So look at how much better, how much my mood and my spirit has been lifted as a result of taking these mushrooms versus compare it to taking an SSRI antidepressant. I mean, the mushroom wins hands down. Hands down. I don't even see how an SSRI, I don't even get where they get to be calling it an antidepressant. They fucking make you fat and make you lose a sex drive. And that's supposed to make people happy? Once I weaned myself off of these drugs, I lost a lot of weight and physically I became much more attractive. And then that in turn also reactivated my sexuality. And I can tell you, I'm having a lot more fun as this hot sex kitten versus who's antidepressant free versus what I was before. This, fat, sexless being who basically like meat blob, who basically didn't have much of a life. I mean, there's no fucking comparison. And it was mushroom, and I don't need to even take the mushrooms every day. You have to take the antidepressants every fucking day. I only needed a couple of doses, a couple of sessions of taking medicinal mushrooms in order to treat me. So don't the mushrooms just win hands fucking down? And I think a lot of people, I'd be surprised at how many people would fucking argue with me though. All these people, and a lot of them, they love drugs, but people argue with me when I say that too. It's like, okay, really? You really think that antidepressants are better than mushrooms? Okay. Well, have at her then, bitch. You're not going to have fun on antidepressants. But that's the point, is that those mushrooms are natural. Whatever is in them, whatever chemicals are in them, has not been created by human scientists in the laboratory. No. That's a natural compound that exists in nature. So if you want to take the scientific view, it evolved over millions of years. And I do believe in evolution. I just believe that is an instrument of how God carries out his work. That's how God actualizes things. Still doesn't, so that like science and religion are actually not at odds with each other. It's just such a fake conflict that people get torn up into. So, but yeah, it evolved over millions of years according to God's will. And that is a natural compound that could never be replicated in its full extent of how amazing it is in a lab by human scientists. It never could be. They will never, and they might do a good job of trying, getting close to it, but they would never fully reach the full extent of how great those chemicals are that are natural, God-given chemicals. And so the natural is always better than the artificial. In any domain, in any realm, in any dimension, under any topic. That is like a rule, an overarching principle of reality, is that the natural is always better than the artificial. You can just always count on it to always be that way, because the natural has so many more dimensions and so many more nuances that we don't even know about them. We don't even know. If we're going to try to make a fake thing, okay, we're going to make it based on to copy something in nature. We're going to be copying that thing in nature only up to the level that we understand that thing of nature. But that thing of nature could have, and it does have, other qualities, other attributes, other properties that have yet to be discovered. So we wouldn't even be in our artificial recreation of it. We wouldn't even be trying to recreate those elements because we don't even know that about these things yet. There could be things about these mushrooms, chemical compounds in the mushrooms, the natural ones, things that they're able to do that we don't even know that they're able to do that yet, because we haven't tried them under certain conditions to know the full range of everything that it's capable of doing. So of course, just right there, because we have a limited understanding, there's no way that the thing that we're creating could ever come close to the thing that we're trying to copy in nature. It just doesn't. And it might seem like it does, and it's impressive because we're amazing. Again, that affirms the human being's superiority, that we could even come close to creating something that God does. Yeah, it shows you how amazing we are, but we're not that amazing to be gods ourselves that we could actually create something that is better than the thing that was created by God. No. So stop worshiping technology. Stop it. Stop thinking that technology is always better than humans or the real thing. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And you're contributing very slowly towards Armageddon of life as we know it on this planet by worshiping technology over the real thing. And that's very bad. Shame on you if you've been doing that. Shame on you. Now you can be forgiven if you say that you're sorry and change course. If you continue to do it, shame on you. So it applies to every domain, whether we're talking about medicines, drugs, the human arm, intelligence, the brain. I mean, any domain of existence, of reality that you can think of, it always is the case that the real is better than the fake. Always. 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 It makes me mad. How many idiots are willing to just throw away everything and to worship at the altar of technology? It actually makes me truly sick to my stomach. And you know what was interesting? I've had so many through this whole journey that I've been on. I can't tell you how much trouble I've had with telephones, with smartphones. I can't speak to my mom effectively. The smartphones always interfere. Almost always interfere. I cannot speak to her. And that to me is confirmation that the technology is of the devil, right? Because they know they don't want me to be able to speak to her, the devil, because she can help me to be well and to overcome demonic attacks, and I can help her to recover from being under demonic influence, which she very much is. My whole family is. This is why I cannot say these things to them. They will fight with me. Whatever it is that I'm saying, they will fucking fight tooth and fucking nail about how it is that I am wrong. Even though they know themselves more than anybody, my family should know that I'm always right. Like, they know, they've seen it their whole lives. When have I ever been wrong, Mom? When? Like, what, can you give me an example? Oh, no, you can't, because I never have been. She will still fight tooth and fucking nail. And they will be willing to serve their grandkids up on the altar of technology. They'll serve them right up to the devil. Okay? Then ever admit that I'm right and that they are misguided. They absolutely will do that. So I have given up. I can't save them. I can't save people like that. So, but whoever is willing to listen, this message is for you. And I don't know why am I even, how did this come about that I'm talking about this today? I don't know. I saw a video from a guy and he was talking about how we're living in the end times. I do believe that. And that that there's these gates of hell that are going to be opened up to unleash even more. There's more than one Antichrist, and that more Antichrists are going to be unleashed. God help us. And he was like, I believe what this guy was saying is true. And I know that if I was to say this to my family, they would argue tooth and fucking nail about how it's not true. Yeah. Because they don't want to hear it, because they themselves are under demonic influence. And so I guess I heard that and it made me think, well, I need to talk about my insight. And this is my insight. And I have lived my life according to this. I've been on a new journey ever since I had that insight on mushrooms. And it was shortly after that I left Vancouver and I came to Kamloops. And I had the best summer of my life. I looked 10 years younger. The weight just melted off. I mean, it was magical what was happening. How did that happen? Because I found the truth of God when I was on those mushrooms. And I started incorporating it into how I live my life. And that doesn't mean that I'm perfect. Nope, nobody is perfect. Don't get caught up on being perfect. Okay? Nobody is perfect. No, nobody. It's impossible to be perfect. Okay? Part of being human is being imperfect. And ironically, that's part of our superior, that's part of what's great about that which is God created, is that it's perfect through its imperfection. You don't realize how your imperfection serves a greater purpose. You don't need to realize it because it doesn't serve your purpose, but some greater purpose that God has. You don't ever get to see how what you think is your imperfection or your mistake or your flaw or your sin, it does serve a greater purpose. But that's just not for you to know. You're on your path. You just need to try your best to be good and to not do wrong. But nobody is going to be 100% never doing wrong. It's just the way it is. Get over it, people. Get over it. Okay? I seek comforts of the flesh all the time. And that's a form of lust and a form of sin right there. I'm not perfect. I forgive myself because I realize that I'm living on this hellish, horrible planet in the end times where Satan runs rampant. And, it's really hard being a human being. And we need, I think, almost need, maybe not it's entirely a need, but it comes close to being a need to have some physical comfort just to get through the evil hardships of this world. You need a break from it. And if you get that through sex or drugs or food or whatever it is that gives you comfort, I don't think, okay, that's not perfect. You are not perfect because you're doing that. But I don't think you really need to beat yourself up over it and think that you're a terrible being, because everybody does that and nobody is perfect. And everybody needs comfort from the toll that it takes on one's spirit to be incarnated in this physical body on this in this hellish domain that we live on called the earth. Okay? And the more spiritual you are, the more highly evolved of a soul that you are, the harder it's going to, not easier, the harder it's going to be for you, because the attacks, the demonic attacks that are against you are going to be that much more, because you're more of a threat to the devil. So even more of a reason why you're going to turn towards these pleasures of the flesh, as they're called. Well, we're not perfect, okay? I ask God for forgiveness, and I try to do the right thing as much as possible. But I don't get bent out of shape when I don't do the right thing. I just use it as, okay, we'll try to do better next time. That's all you really can do. But that certainly doesn't mean give up on the whole project overall that is humanity, and just cede it all to technology. No way. Oh, but what was I going to say? I've had so many problems with fucking phones. It's only gotten worse. Interesting how the common theme is I get silenced, though. I've had microphone problems, audio problems. TikTok wasn't recording my voice. No reason why. Then it started again. I mean, it's just, it doesn't, there's no rhyme or reason to the things that happen with my technology. But the common theme is stifling my voice, because the evil one does not want my voice to be heard. And at a certain point, one of my phones that I had was broken and had a smashed screen. And when you have a smashed screen on an iPhone, I don't know what happens, but there's like an ink or there's a liquid that gets released within that screen. And it can make a pattern according to the cracks in the screen. That dictates where this liquid flows within the screen. Okay? And I saw it first, but I just kept it to myself. I didn't say anything to anyone. But my friend there, Reese, he saw it and he said it. He said, wow, that looks like a person in the screen. Yeah, it did. It was only half. The other half was out of view. But it was like creeping in from the side and raising its hand. And it was all black and it looked very evil looking. That's the devil. That's the demon in the phone. The phone was smashed to the point where you could actually see the demon inside it. I don't believe it's a coincidence, because this is a year after I had the epiphany about that technology is the root of all evil, and technology and artificial intelligence is the real threat to humanity in terms of an Armageddon. Don't be so focused on worrying about nuclear war. I mean, yeah, don't. Of course, nuclear war is a terrible thing. You should be against it. But realize that the threat is much broader than that. That's just one narrow conception of how Armageddon might occur. One very Hollywood-style conception of how it might occur, with all these bombs going off. It can occur very slowly over time as human beings stop reproducing, and as the proliferation of machines and artificial technology takes over more and more of the functions that used to be filled by humans, or that which was created by God. Instead is now to be, that role is being fulfilled by that which was created by humans, and that could never match the superiority and the divine spark that is in a human being, a natural human being. So that's all I have to say. Take it to heart. It's a very important message I have today. And live your lives accordingly. Does that mean get rid of your smartphone? Maybe. It might mean that. No, not necessarily. I have a smartphone. It means use tech. But if you can do without the smartphone, then yes. Do with as little technology as you possibly can. And the technology that you do allow into your life, make sure you're the master of it, not the other way around. And make sure that you're using that technology towards your ends, your goals. Don't let the technology write the agenda for you. That's the message. Peace out. Technology acting up as I try to end the stream.